Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay, and welcome to the Battle for Azeroth beta and the second pass for the Feral Druid. And I can assure you, Cat is still for fight. So in this video, I'm going over talent adjustments, spells and abilities lost or gained or kept from your Legion artifacts or legendaries, any new graphics, a brief overview of the war mode talents, and any pertinent GCD changes. There is no true gameplay, however, in this video series, so consider it more of a one-man podcast walkthrough primer of what your spec is going to be like going from Legion into Battle for Azeroth. If you want to check out the entire testing VOD, that is linked in the video description box down below. And of course, below that is the comment section, so if you have any questions, concerns, or feedback about the spec, leave it down below there. I will sort of gather up what I can before I send in my email to Blizzard. And of course, if you are new here and enjoy my ramblings, consider hitting the subscribe button. Or you can go one step further and actually hit the bell, the notification icon next to it, because that's the real subscribe button nowadays on YouTube, because YouTube, basically. So, Feral Druid. The cat is... There are a lot of under-the-hood changes. Same thing with the actual Guardian Druid. There's just lots of things that have been tweaked underneath, sort of behind, because obviously Fangs of Ashman are gone, and a lot of components go with them. However, let me go over some of the basic stuff that is still held over for Feral Druid. There is still the weird extra 50% haste rating from gear that is not translated anywhere in your tooltips or anywhere your passives. Nowhere is this told to you that you gain 50% more haste. I've reported it both times. I've tested, I think, back in Legion, and I will be, of course, doing it again now. But I don't know why it's just not somewhere so the player knows. It's just kind of strange, right? I have the exact same gear on, 22.53% haste as a cat, and if I turn into a bear... Indeed. All of a sudden, I only have 15.2, or O2, rather. So, you just gain passive haste being a cat, which is to, in some way, balance out the need to not actually stack haste, I suppose. But just tell the players that? I don't know. It seems pretty simple to me. I also do not know how the transmog system will work for turning into your other cat forms. That is still not implemented. I tried getting an answer at PAX. I think we tried to get an answer on a WoW Q&A a while back. Didn't know. So hopefully we'll see about that in the weeks to come. So otherwise, one of the biggest changes to the kitty cat is this one. So that would be Tiger's Fury on the global cooldown. Energy regen was reduced to plus 50, down from plus 60. The rest is the same. There is no trickle effect on the energy like you have from your artifact. Honestly, though, I'm a fledgling cat druid. I don't play many of the combo point classes. I will not shy away from the fact that I'm not like proficient or crazy at these. But the feel of this ability... And what I originally thought was going to feel just feels just fine. It just flows in like any other rotational ability. It does, and I will totally give you this. I can't physically test this without going to do like dungeons and whatnot, but the Predator version of Tiger's Fury is a little awkward because you get like 2 or 3 globals and then something dies with a bleed on it, and then you just have to hit Tiger's Fury again to put yourself back on the global, but you keep giving yourself back the energy. Not only does the GCD when you're energy regenerating works there help, then the boost from Tiger's Fury does as well to keep doing the Thrash, Swipe, or Brutal Slash combos in the AoE situation. It just slows it down a little bit. And I think the biggest point that people have to take away from this is that that is just how the game is going to be. Blizzard wants to slow down combat by a little bit and take out a few extra APM just to make everyone's a little bit more on the same playing field with not having this weird gulf of weak auras and macros overtake people that can't do all of that. So it does feel a little bit strange, but even if you just go over to the... I mean, it's obviously going to be a situation where I'm just hitting target dummies, but the build doesn't really feel like it's that slow. Obviously, crit aside... There's a little bit of energy burn sometimes in the rotation, but overall, it doesn't really feel that bad. I'm also, this is the spam build, by the way. I'm going to go over more build stuff when I get to talents. But this is the spam druid build, as it were. And it just works. Let me do one more Tiger's Fury here. I'm going to get one more into this. That was a... Okay. Nice crits, nice crits. One more of those in the window and reapply the rake at the end there. Oh, I probably should have hit that thrash there for free. But it rotates in just fine. When you need the extra energy, when you're ready to re-snapshot your abilities, it just snaps back up and it feels okay. Obviously, it's going to be weird in AoE, but we'll figure it out. Or, you know, you guys will. The better players at this spec than I am. Other baseline changes are that Rebirth is back to having a cast time now. So you do cast this in cat form, I'm pretty sure. We couldn't get the test of this since alpha, but you remain in cat form to cast Rebirth. It's 100% health, 20% mana, up from the 60-20 on live. However, you do not stay in cat form to cast Hibernate, which has been brought back. If I can find it, there it is. So Hibernate, which is the Beast or Dragonkin sleep. This takes you out of cat form. But Soothe is an instant, so it keeps you in cat form. These are all things that have been brought forward. The other change is that bear form now, if you're not actually a Guardian Druid, only gives you 25% stamina. Same armor, but bears get 55% stamina, 30% more. So boomkins, cats, and trees only get 25% stamina, and the change to Frenzied Regen now is a 25% heal, 5% every second for 5 seconds. So this sort of hurts mostly tree druids, but now you cannot be as tanky as a non-bear going into bear form, and you cannot heal yourself for as much as a bear going into bear form, which makes sense. Also, you had a change to balance affinity. It's only 3 extra yards, down from 5, so a slight nerf if you're a bear or a cat. If you're a tree, though, you get the 5 yards, and obviously boomkins have the 5 yards. And behind the scenes, a big change overall here is that your bleeds scale with haste. So haste scaling mastery is new, because your mastery, of course, is still that your bleeds are increased. So I don't know how much haste cats will care about moving. The refreshing rip at 4 or less seconds. And, it's rip under 7, rake under 4. Is roughly the same as on live. It will depend on, you know, crits and energy regeneration and how much haste you're going to actually want to stack. But there is no extra rip from your artifact now. So refreshing may be different depending on the Tiger's Fury timings, right? Because you have the double rip madness that you have to kind of juggle on live. That's obviously not here anymore. So putting up your bleeds, because they do scale with haste, is just going to be something you'll may have breakpoints for. Welcome to the Haste breakpoint world, Feral Druids. But, excuse me, overall, I don't think it's going to change a whole lot, because there are essentially 2 different builds that are evolving here. Let me go through the rest of these base updates, and we'll talk about those builds. Stampeding Roar across the board is the same for both cats and bears now. Bears lost Guttural Roar, so that doesn't have any competing issue anymore. So 15-yard baseline, 60% movement speed for 8 seconds, same as bears. PvP war mode talents may change that, but... So Brutal Slash had its energy cost reduced from 40 to 30. Brutal Slash does still have the possible Tiger's Fury single target implication, where it is slightly stronger than Shred, but again, that's numbers tuning, which is not the point of this video. Moment of Clarity has its damage amp reduced to 15%, down from 20. The energy and RPPM are still the same. And Blood Talons was actually buffed. But because of your other new talent, because you'll see that Elune's Guidance was removed. Moment of silence for Elune's Guidance, anyone? I didn't think so. All right. Is that Blood Talons may be a PvP talent or a bursty AoE talent combined with, say, Brutal Slash or Thrashes. Not totally sure, because the talent builds that are coming out now are, let's take this one I'm already spec'd as, right? So we're Blood Scent, we are Soul of the Forest, we are Sabertooth, and we are Moment of Clarity. This build, as I just shut off a little bit there, is what is being referred to as the spam build. So this build is very much that you just kind of spam all your abilities. Oh, almost. There we go. One more. Ooh, nice. I mean, you basically just spam everything. So you want Omen of Clarity procs, you want to get extra crits, and you just spam Ferocious Bite and Rake, basically. And you put up your Thrashes if you have a clear casting proc. So let's put that down there. One of these. So this build with this crappy gear that I'm currently playing on, this is a 185 character. It's roughly like an 880 boosted 110. Is really smooth. It just sort of does what it does. Let's do that into one of... Oh, yeah. But this is the spam build. And I'm not sure numerically how good this will be. And I don't... You only thrash on pure single target at certain amounts of targets or clear casting. But again, I'm hitting it because what else do you have to hit? You have plenty of energy even with like this crappy amount of crit. We'll do one more Tiger's Fury real quick again, just to see you can see the comparison. And obviously, this is a controlled environment where I'm just sitting here on a target dummy, but still. And this is not including Berserk, right? Not berserking at all in here. But that's sort of the spam build, right? So Sabertooth keeps the your rip up all the time. Ferocious Bite dealing more damage. Soul of the Forest actually doing increased damage for Ferocious Bite, getting some nice bites in there. Blood Scent giving you an extra crit. Moment of Clarity give you the additional damage on your builders. And give you the energy regeneration to help because you are sort of spamming more often, right? Now, that is very different from the next build. I'm going to keep Blood Scent. This could be used with Lunar Inspiration based on your crit values on the character you have, as you're gearing up. So you can take that as what you will. We're going to grab Jagged Wounds. We're going to grab Savage Roar. And yes, I think in this build, Savage Roar fits totally fine. And we're going to take your new talent, Feral Frenzy, which is essentially just Ashmane's Frenzy on a 45-second cooldown, costs 25 energy. You unleash a Furious Frenzy, clawing your targets 5 times for physical damage. And a huge bleed over 6 seconds. So as this currently stands, Feral Frenzy's bleed on this meh-geared character is so much more damage than Rip. So a 5-point Rip takes about 20 seconds to do not even 4,000 damage. Granted, that's going to be up all the time. Feral Frenzy's at a 45-second cooldown. That does 4,300 damage right now. Over 6 seconds. It's a hyper-accelerated dot. And in this build with Savage Roar, and you're going to be syncing it up with Tiger's Fury, because of course the whole point of a cat druid is to do the snapshotting effect. If you don't know what snapshotting means, it is to put up short form damage amplification buffs that then buff or amplify follow-up abilities, and in this case, dots will keep that damage amp the entire duration of their effect. And only very few instances of snapshotting exist in World of Warcraft today, Feral Druid being the main user of such a system. So, Feral Frenzy. I may mess this up. It took me a while to figure out what the builder or the opener would be for this. I'm not going to use Berserk in this instance, and of course you can use Incarnation with this too if you'd like. Incarnation still doesn't have an animation yet, and you still get like the weird puddle under your feet, so that's unfortunate. But anyway, Jagged Wounds. 20% faster dots on your bleeds, right? Rip, Break, and Thrash. Savage Roar is the additional amplification that you use for combo points. Feral Frenzy, Blood Scent. Again, you can use LI for this. The opener for this, we're not sure how many points you're going to use a Savage Roar on, but let's just do like a 2-point Savage Roar or a 3-point Savage Roar. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Let's refresh both of those. And now we're going to rebuild to our Savage Roar, which this build is going to be way slower than normally. And it's going to have a different component on... So let's do one more. Let's wait a moment. Do that. Savage Roar. Yeah. Without a lot of crits in this build, you will notice how much slower it is. I'm going to have to do this and then refresh that rip on a pandemic and the rake. Yeah, I got it. And then you're back to the maintain. All right, you're going to rotate through. Maybe throw in a thrash here or there. That again. We're going to refresh Savage Roar early. Reapply that rake. And we will do that. See, now this comes to the decision making. I don't know, because of numbers, if you're going to hold that Feral Frenzy until after this point. So one of those. Let's do this, that. Oops. I meant to hit Rip and then hit Feral Frenzy. So I don't know if you're going to delay your Feral Frenzies to always sync up with your Tiger's Furies. You may. But I'm actually not sure. That may be a flow or a numbers part. But there are parts in this rotation where you'll actually find the ability to use a Ferocious Bite here and there. So let's bottom out our... There we go. Like right there. You can use a Ferocious Bite, I guess. But that depends on if you get a lot of good crits for Primal Fury or if you get a lot of good moments where you actually didn't need to refresh too early. So we're going to do this and then Frenzy. And then you can Ferocious Bite, I guess. See, I don't know where the teeter-totter will come here. I know I needed to put a rake up there again, too, so that was probably more of a priority than the Feral Frenzy. Because they desync on purpose. So 45-second cooldown versus the 30-second cooldown. So they go, you know, one has 0, 30, 60, 90 versus 0, 45, 90. So you may desync them because I bet it's probably more overall damage because you don't want to let Feral Frenzy sit. But Feral Frenzy and Savage Roar is just enough plates to juggle where it does feel really nice. So take that for what it is. If you don't like the Blood Talons, Savage Roar, and Tiger's Fury juggling, then Feral Frenzy's huge dot may overcome the extra 25% damage you get on a few finishers here and there. And depending on the teeter-totter you're currently going on, Feral Frenzy might work in to give you some Ferocious Bites before the execute window. But we'll have to wait and see. Because there is a lot of possible math going on there with when to use it and how to work around it. Because right now it's sort of like we do on live, but there are not all the extra artifact traits that are involved in Ashmane's Frenzy and how the rotation feels. And because you have Ashmane's Frenzy and Blood Talons on live, you can't have both now because they're two different talents. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think of that. The other talent changes that you saw here is Displacer Beast is gone. Tiger Dash is the new dash. To accommodate for this change, Tiger Dash and Dash were a little bit of change here. So Dash was reduced to a 2-minute cooldown, 60% movement speed for 10 seconds. Dash is a 200% movement speed that gradually reduces over 4 seconds on a 45-second cooldown. We did do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison because people were curious about how far Wild Charge works versus Tiger Dash. So here above my head, bloop, the blue marker to blue target dummy is a Wild Charge 25 yards, or the pounce that cats can do. The red marker to the orange marker, however, that is the 4-second Tiger Dash window. And of course, you're not going to use Tiger Dash for the whole 4 seconds most of the time. You're going to use it for the initial huge burst to get you from point A to point B really quickly, and then, of course, there you are there. So that is the difference in the distance between the two. And again, to see it in action, of course, if you're already in cat form, it is off the global. But if you're not in cat form, it does incur a global because you are form changing to cat form. But it is quite quick. And you could, of course, combine that right after with the Stampeding Roar as well. Some good mobility there. And of course, you still have your Skull Bash, your little micro charge too. So those are all the different little baseline changes there. Let me go back to my notes to make sure I didn't forget anything. Yep, so Loon's Guidance removed, Feral Frenzy added, Bleed build versus Spam build equals math or playstyle choice, hopefully. Tiger's Fury on the global cooldown. Berserk and or Incarnation are on the global cooldown. Berserk still looks awesome. Incarnation looks terrible. And yeah, Tiger Dash or Dash is off the GCD if you're already in cat form. It's on the GCD if you're form changing. So the War Mode talent, we'll run through this real quick. War Mode is activated within your capital city of Orgrimmar or Stormwind. That gives you additional honor when killing the opposite faction. If you go on a 10+ kill streak, you will then get a, without dying, you will then gain a 15% damage and healing buff. You become an assassin. And if you kill the other faction's assassins, you gain even more honor. You gain 15% more XP and from killing monsters and doing quests, and there's a bonus rewards for world quests. How to remember all the little different things you get there. So, a little brain fart. And it'll shard you in, of course, with other war moded players. So the world PvP is the whole point of this ability. I will not be using war mode very much on stream, I don't think, because I'll probably get ganked and camped. That's unfortunately part of the situation where being a broadcaster might come in as a detriment to getting these increased rewards. But we'll see how they all work out in the future here. So you get to pick one of your PvP talents, your medallion, your adaptation, or relentless, and then before you got to pick 6 other talents, right? There were 7 talent rows. You had the medallion row, and then you had like the all DPS row, and then you had 4 more. So you do get 1 less talent. However, you get to pick any 3. You can pick and choose and combine any 3 talents you'd like. So I picked Freedom of the Herd, which is the Stampeding Roar, clears all roots and snares from yourself and allies. And I picked Malorn Swiftness, which is the travel form in arenas and battlegrounds is amped by 20%, or you're always going to be moving at 100% movement speed while in travel form. You can never be reduced below 100%. So lots of mobility choices. You can take both of these, and then you can, of course, just add Rip and Tear onto this, where you immediately apply your rip and rake, which I guess in some cases that's what players feel like when a cat druid comes out of stealth and they're already sudden dead. But 60 energy, 1 minute cooldown, where you put both of your bleeds on the target. You can pick any of these, right? Tooth and Claw is still the increased health and damage in bear form, and you get the Enraged Maul. Protector of the Grove is when you use Regrowth on an ally. The initial heal will always have a critical effect, and the cast time of Regrowth will be reduced by 50% for 6 seconds to have that little off-healing component there. Savage Momentum is you interrupting a spell with Skull Bash, which sets the cooldown of Tiger's Fury. Fresh Wound is the Rake, has a 60% increased critical strike chance if used on a target that doesn't already have Rake on them. Ferocious Wound is the 5 combo point Ferocious Bite, will reduce the target's maximum health by 8% for 30 seconds, up to 2 stacks. And Ferocious Wound can only be active on 1 target. Enraged Maim, which kind of threw me for a loop here. I didn't really know what the point of this was. So Maim is a stun baseline. Enraged Maim is a incapacitate that does lighter damage. This is to apparently sync up with being able to use different arena or battleground comps to not have the same type, not having stun to stun, so you're not DRing faster, because incapacitates and stuns are on separate tables. So that's what Enraged Maim is for. King of the Jungle, for every enemy you have Rip active on, your damage and movement speed will be increased by 3%, up to 3 stacks. Earthen Grasp is the entangling roots no longer dispellable, but it reduces the target's chance, or is no longer dispellable, and reduces the target's hit chance by 80%, and is now a 10 seconds cooldown. So you can't just remove it, and it makes casters not hit spells, I guess, basically. Because if you root a melee, you're not staying next to them. But Earthen Grasp and Thorns is the 5% of total health damage reflect to targets that attack people with thorns on them, yourself or a friendly target. And then attackers on the Thorns target get the snare by 50% for 4 seconds. So you can pick like a super bear build. You can go, I don't even know, maybe Tooth and Claw into maybe Earthen Grasp and Thorns, right? So the CC-ish sort of bear cat build, or again, the super mobility style. You can even also grab Savage Momentum here too, or King of the Jungle maybe. Take whatever you want, right? Because you pick 3 of anything. There's no more competing like it is on live. And these are active in all open world content, world questing, obviously arenas and battlegrounds, not dungeons or raids. But that is, excuse me, that is the Cat Druid. The other talents that I didn't really go over are all the same. So your utility is the same. Renewal, Predator, Lunar Inspiration, of course. And again, the 2 builds that were talked about are the Bleed build versus the Spam build. There's potential for different styles of play. Let's do this little Brutal Slash opening here again, or Feral Frenzy rather. I don't know how these will work out. hopefully, let's... that was the wrong button. I meant to hit that, and then Feral Frenzy. Damn it! I'm not good at these kind of combo point classes and the juggling therein. But I'm not sure. If you know more about how the Feral Druid beta testing has gone, leave a good comment down below and I can pin it or at least upvote it to let other people read it. But I thought Savage Roar, Blood Talons, and Tiger Fury juggling was an absolute nightmare. I'm sure there are add-ons and weak auras and tell me ones to help you do this, right, and kind of cruise control it. But the Feral Frenzy Savage Roar style, to me, made a lot more sense. I'm waiting for my cooldown to come back up so I can fix the fact that I just totally messed up that opener. And, of course, this is a very sterile environment where I'm just sitting here like this. But, all right, so this, then that, then this, then that, then that. And then refresh, and then do one of those, that, and maybe a Ferocious Bite. Probably not worth it. 17 seconds. I got a clear casting proc there. That's what I waited for. This is probably not gonna be worth it. No, I should have just reapplied Rip. You should have pandemicked. You should have pandemicked. Ah! See, you can't do it. Ferocious Bite doesn't work in this build unless you're executing. Lesson learned. Oops, that was a clear cast as I went to hit Shred, so I wasted energy there. That's going to be a thing. Without the extra energy you're used to with the ring and the whole spam build you have on live right now, this build's going to definitely take some more finesse to what you're used to. I was told it's basically an old school style versus, again, this whole Forest Sabertooth Moment of Clarity spam with Blood Scent again. I think LI actually feels really good in the, in the Savage Roar window because, again, without the RNG from crits, you actually get a lot more control over your combo points. So let's do one of these. That was weird lag, I guess. So we'll refresh all three of our dots. And then we'll refresh our Savage Roar here. There we go. So that was snapshotting your Rake, your Rip, and your Lunar Inspiration. And then one Lunar Inspiration here. And then, see, without good enough crits, you are going to fall into a point where your Rip might just fall off. This is, of course, with Jagged Wounds, right? So, one of that. Tiger's Fury. We'll just reapply. Yeah, we'll reapply. Because our next round is going to be a Savage Roar. So, obviously, the opener is going to be way easier if you're using Berserk, and I'm not right now. So, let me know in the comments down below what you think of the Feral Druid. Spam build, bleed build. That's how it's going to be. Hopefully, Azerite traits can sort of finagle one way or the other. Thank you very much for listening to all of my ramblings on the Feral Druid, of course. If you have missed any of the previous videos, check out the playlist that's right here on the channel. It'll be in the end card coming up. And we still have Balanced Druid, which has been heavily reworked. That is going to be coming up very soon. If you are new to the channel, of course, or returning and don't have that bell icon clicked on, that is the real subscription button here on the channel. Or, of course, you can just subscribe if you're new, and I appreciate all of the growing support. Or, if you'd like to support what I do here in a more physical manner, you could do so by heading over to my apparel store. We just recently launched our Farewell to Legion All Over Fate of a Titan shirt. This is a front and back shirt that is made by Teutron, which has the awesome Gorobald art on the front. Or you can take up maybe a Little Final Boss by Fabelina, Little Illidan and Ragnaros and Arthas and Sylvanas, and the Eridar twins are Jada and Kindi. Those are all by Fabelina. They're all really adorable. We have one more Fabelina shirt on the, two more on the horizon here. We have 7 more designs coming out by the end of this summer, I think. We have a whole bunch of stuff, and these are ways that I can help support what I do here and keep working with other artists in our community making neat stuff for you. But your support and viewership is all I really need. Thank you very much for watching and listening to my ramblings, and I will see you all in the next Battle for Azeroth Beta Second Pass.